Hopping straight into it, this is a story of how I have made my journey throughout my life, throughout my late teens, early 20s, homelessness, dancing, all of that, just kind of getting into that. Y'all, this Zit is an unpaid actor. I wish we get the fuck on, but try not to stare at it while I'm talking, because we here. Okay, get into her. So, if you have followed me for a few years, if you have been on my Instagram, my TikTok, different stuff like that, then you would know that within recent years, I was dealing with homelessness. So we're talking from, the timeline is kind of iffy. So if it was January, damn. Y'all, I think I want to say from about, oh my God, no. Y'all, it might have been like a year or two I've been kind of homeless. But y'all, it's not necessarily been, so it's been like a lot going on. But I'm going to tell from a very long way so that I can kind of pinpoint the timeline of everything, right? So y'all, I've said it a few times, I have experienced homelessness quite a few times throughout my childhood. I have experienced living in a car. I've experienced living with family friends. We've experienced living in a hotel. There's just been a lot of different situations. And beginning disclaimer, y'all, I'm not making excuses for my life. I've always said I am a victor, never a victim. I am a victor, never a victim. I'm not even making this video to disgruntle my family or my parents. In recent years, with me and my father kind of going through it after my mom passed away, that's how he was feeling, or that's how people have made it seem. Y'all, I gained nothing from publicly disparaging my father. Let it be known with that. But at the end of the day, things happen. People are trying their best or doing their best when they have kids, or they have their own lives going on. So it just is what it is. But for the most part, what helps me in my life and what I feel like my purpose on this earth while I'm here is to use my experiences to help other people through what they have been through. It's just what God put on my heart, y'all. It just gonna be it. I got this widescreen mouth for a reason. I'm gonna have to use it. So, and at the end of the day, I've been through so many tumultuous situations in my life that I feel like there's absolutely no reason for this suffering beyond like, I gotta use it. It has to have a purpose, because there's no reason why I've gone through so much different shit. So we had been through all of those like bouts of homelessness when I was younger. So that is why I'm also a little bit more well prepared than somebody who probably is experiencing it for the first time, or it's like the second or third time, I don't know, based off of whatever different situations. Trigger warning, there will be some, I'm not gonna say everything is necessarily abuse, because I'm gonna say that everybody gets into it. Like, for the most part, friends, coworker, family, y'all gonna get into it. There's gonna be disagreements. And big disclaimer, y'all, in the videos in the past, if you go looking based off of like why I'm homeless, all the different stuff like that, me and my dad have made peace with each other. I love my dad to pieces. We're just too much alike, and he just got his own little shit going on. So sometimes we don't see eye to eye, but that's still my dog. Like, that's still my daddy. Plain and simple. I've always said when one day I blow up, or like there's a whole lot of attention on me, there might be times where I go back to videos or it's found and it's just like, oh, she hates her daddy, blah, blah, blah. No, I love my daddy, y'all. But sometimes he's just a fuck nigga. It just is what it is. Everybody don't get along with their parents all the time. So it just is what the fuck it is. But we have been through homelessness quite a few times in my younger years. So I was a little bit more well equipped for it. Within recent years, what was happening was, let me see. Around the time that I was 17, I graduated high school and I went to live with my father. And that was like a first run-in of us like getting into it. And when we got into it around that time, I went to go stay with my mom, and her living situation based off of just her life situation was not, what is the word? It wasn't the best, to say the least, right? So that was part of what shaped me throughout my childhood. It kind of has always been this situation, was made me the hustler that I am. So I'm not disgruntling my parents ever, for real. Yes, sometimes I'm agitated with them, but for the most part, the life that they gave me, they were doing the best that they could with the resources that they had. And it shaped me into who I am to be able to give people advice from this perspective or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's not really too much that you could shame me, because I feel like in life, when you experience so many things and you see time and time and time again that you could get through them, that you could use your brain power to get through them, that you could figure it out, you realize that it ain't nothing but you and God. Point blank, period. That's it. That's whatever, right? So at the end of the day, I feel like truly me and God have gotten me through a lot of different situations, and it's made me have a firm belief in myself. It's made me be able to stand 10 in situations where people were trying to put me down, people were trying to back me into a corner, stuff like that. And on this journey, I have lost faith quite a few times. I can say I'm coming back out of that, and I'm trying to get back into my prayer and my belief, because I had a lot of dark moments where I could have easily started doing some shit I really ain't had no business, or gone back to kind of like my old ways. Cause like I said, we've been going through it for a little minute. I'm not gonna say my entire childhood was plagued with homelessness or poverty, but a good portion. You get what I'm saying? So it's definitely shaped me mentally. And I do realize that a lot of other people that I've come into contact with have different mindsets based off of like what their childhood is. But one thing I will say for sure, for certain, do not let being materialistic, do not let keeping up with the Joneses, do not let your fear of not being what people think you are or whatever have you really so down the fuck bad and you struggling and you suffering in silence, right? So getting into the story, around the time that I was 17, I graduated high school, went to live with my dad for the first time. We got into it. I deleted that video a little while ago because I was like, I was going off bad, y'all. But we got into it. I went to go live with my mom. I started working at Bed, and y'all, you're gonna see me looking down because I wrote notes because I got a lot to talk about. So I started working at Bed Bath & Beyond, and I was living with my mom, and it wasn't necessarily like an ideal living situation. And I started to do overtime at Bed Bath & Beyond. Also within this time, I also have like pieces of advice to give y'all. So I'm gonna try to keep that over here so I could keep myself on with the points. I started doing a whole lot of overtime, and obviously it was to get myself out of the situation because technically we were homeless. We were staying in someone's house in a bedroom, and it was like a whole lot of shit going on. It was a man, and that's also why I have had during my journey people saying, why don't you just go stay with a man? And then also people telling me they respect me because I could be with some lame ass nigga, but instead I'm choosing to live in my car. I'm choosing to live in Airbnbs. I'm choosing to live in hotels. Because in this situation, we were living with a man, and sometimes if you go live with a man, you're gonna have sexual advances coming at you when you don't want it. So there have been a lot of situations in my life where my safety was at stake just because men just cannot keep it in their fucking pants. So a lot of y'all have wondered, why is she suffering when she don't have to? She's pretty, she's this, she could just go get a nigga to help her. Y'all, because then I would even be sacrificing my state of mind and myself to just feel like I just got a place to stay. So for the most part, I started working super hard at Bed Bath & Beyond, and anywhere you go, y'all, I'm going to tell you, I don't mind being the hardest worker in the company. I don't mind opening and closing the store. I don't mind being tired of a motherfucker, because sometimes you have to push yourself to the brink to get yourself out of your situation. You can't sit and beat yourself up. You can't sit and cry yourself to sleep all the time and woo, 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 woe is me, and be mad at the world, start being mean to people because of what you're going through. None of that matters. We all got a story. And baby, if you want to see my laundry list, let's go band for band. What's up? So I became like the hardest worker, the top beyond associate, whatever, got awarded for it, all that different shit, because I said, point blank period, I'm not going to be homeless no more. Like, I'm going to make some shit shake. I'm going to turn my situation up. I'm going to figure this the fuck out, right? And that was based off of past experiences in childhood. That was based off of like me getting into it with my daddy. Like, I've just always said that at the end of the day, your parents are your parents, but there needs to be a line drawn with any relationship, friendship, co-workership, whatever, where respect is there. And the issues I've had with my dad has been, I think, kind of growing pains. Sometimes parents have a hard time seeing you as your own person. Sometimes parents have a hard time when you advocate for yourself. And this could happen with anybody. That's why I say I'm not really malicing my dad or begrudging him or whatever. Sometimes people just have a hard time when you have boundaries and you stand on business and just stuff like that. So it just wasn't gonna work with my daddy. So I work super hard, and what I can say is if you are somewhere and you are working super hard, you will get noticed. And people gonna ask you why you working so hard, da 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 da. And not saying that you guys have to start a YouTube channel, not saying that you guys gotta post it to Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, whatever you're going through. If it be homelessness or if it be something else, like some kind of domestic violence or something like that. Not saying that you gotta tell your business, but for the most part, me being open and honest is what has assisted me in these situations. So I work super hard to get overtime and stuff like that because, of course, a big thing that apartments need are pay stubs. But part of getting noticed is one of my coworkers, I was just kind of talking to her because we got kind of close. She was a little bit of an older lady. And I was like, yeah, I'm working super hard so I can get into my first apartment, like da 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 da, right? And she was like, okay, well, I could put a good word in with the lady. So right then and there, kind of me just being a little bit open, got somebody to say, okay, they would put a good word in for me at an apartment. Now the apartment, my first apartment, come into these notes. My first apartment where I lived was kind of an assisted living or based on income. So it was like a senior kind of community. That's why I say you have to be malleable and you have to be open to the idea that sometimes the blessing that God has for you is going to be something random. Like, who would have thought that I would be living in a senior community, right? But because I got close to an elderly woman, she put me on with that. And it was a based on income vibe. So because I was working so hard and because I had gotten those overtime hours, my pay stubs reflected a decent amount. And y'all, what I can say is, for the most part, people do know me as a dancer, as an entrepreneur, but I worked a few jobs. I've worked quite a few regular jobs. So my advice is coming from all points. I will never be the person, even though I love my Magic City family down, I love and appreciate the clubs that I've been at that have helped me in my life and on my journey. Everybody that knows me knows I will never tell nobody go pick up and start stripping. That's You gonna do what you want to do. Don't ever watch none of my videos and be like, I started stripping because of Johnny. That's not You're not gonna use me as your excuse, bitch. So in the first apartment, my pay stubs got me that because I've been running my own company, but initially when I started my company, I wasn't too good on the taxes or like bank statements or just whatever. Like I was just kind of all over the place, which happens most of the time if you start a company. And because the lady put a good word in for me and because of like the pay stub or whatever, I got approved. However, what came up and happened is I put some money onto a credit card, and I'm also going to get into like my trials and tribulations I've had with credit cards, y'all, but that might not be able to fit in this video. I don't know, it's been a lot. I put my money on a credit card, and then apparently you cannot buy money orders with a credit card, y'all. Know this is a very important piece of advice. You cannot buy money orders with a credit card. So when I needed to get the money order for the apartment, I didn't have it because it was on a credit card. So I went to my job and I was like, y'all, please give me an advance on my paycheck. Y'all know I'm a hard worker. Y'all know I'm good for it, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And it was like, sorry, we can't. Y'all, this is why I say God always has somebody looking out and watching out for you. Sometimes you have to plead and cry and make an ass of yourself for people to watch out for you. You be trying to be too tough to keep it pee. God can't bless you because closed mouths don't get fed. So I was in that motherfucker crying. I was crying, y'all. Because at the end of the day, I had worked so hard to get into this apartment. And then now the fact that I had made a decision that I didn't even know, I was like 17, 18 or whatever, would affect me. I was like, damn, I feel hopeless. My manager, bless her heart, I love her down. Like, if I ever am able to get into contact with her, like 100%, I got a blessing for her. She reached into her own pocket to give me the money to get into my apartment. And she was like, don't even bother giving it back to me. Right? Well, Jesus, only God would have been able to pull through with a blessing like that. Right? So fast forward, I get into the apartment, and the apartment was beautiful, y'all. It was a keypad. It had a walk up, like it was 2 stories in my apartment. I had pillars in my living room, like it was a dope ass vibe. And I said, when I got into that apartment, I made the decision I would never be homeless ever again. Fast forward to this video now, I mean, shit happens. And sometimes you gotta be willing to go back to go forward. So yes, I have experienced homelessness since then, but it's what it is. Let's get into it. My biggest issue with that apartment, because it was a blessing, because my rent was super low, because it was based on income, I started to have issues with the light bill. Now, y'all, there's absolutely no reason why in a 2-bedroom apartment, I should have been getting light bills for like $400. So know this, if you've never got an apartment before, or if you've never had this issue before, there are issues that you can run into where people can attach themselves to your light bill. I never knew that. And because I was so boss babe, I used to have my mother living with me. So because I was so boss babe and I was trying to figure shit out by myself, I was young. Of course, I didn't know none about that shit. Like, you're taught a lot of things in school, and there are some things that people tell me they weren't taught in school, but I'm like, literally, I learned that in school, and you probably just weren't paying attention. But there's definitely some shit that you're not taught in school that I feel like definitely needs to be certain courses that are like implemented. I never knew people can attach themselves to your light bill. Absolutely, never knew that. So there's all types of scamming that goes on. Y'all know we live in Atlanta, scam central. I never knew that. So I would go complain to the leasing office. Leasing office would say, it's Georgia Power. I would complain to Georgia Power. Georgia Power would say, that's a leasing office issue. So Miss Stand on Business here said, okay, fuck it, cut the lights off. So I cut the lights off to my place, y'all. I strung, because I had a walk up with a buzzer, I strung an extension cord to the hallway, and I had generators and fans and heaters being powered in my apartment, and lights and all that shit from the extension cord that was strung up through the hallway. I said, I don't give a fuck, y'all gonna play with somebody else, because I'm not paying the bill. Get somebody else to do it. So that issue came in. The biggest issue that happened with that is that my fridge started to leak, and it started to cause issues with the downstairs apartment. But y'all, I was standing on business. So that's another way that I will tell y'all, here's a big tip. These apartments will play in your face if you let them. There's a certain thing called code enforcement. Hello, code enforcement. You mention that, everybody's scalp starts sweating, everybody get professional as fuck. Google is your best friend. So they didn't want to let me out of my lease because my mom was like, no, we need to leave from here. Because I never told her about what the light bills were. But once I told her, she was like, what the fuck? Like, no, that ain't right. So I was like, okay, well, let me out of my lease. They were like, nah, it's going to cost this amount. I said, well, I'm just going to call code enforcement. I'm going to tell them whatever issues, blah, 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 out of my lease, right? But no, I need to tell the little parts within. That's how I got out of my lease. But really a big portion, because it's going to lead through the rest of the stories, what led me to stripping is I got my apartment and I was working for like Bed Bath or whatever, doing overtime, blah, blah, blah. But then I got a second job. So I get my second job, and literally, y'all, I was working hard as a motherfucker. Like I was working so hard. I had this one joke with my mother and I that, because I used to wear wigs and stuff like that, where I woke up like at 2 a.m. and I was putting my wig on backwards to try to go rush to work. Like I was working harder than you could ever imagine to get these checks. And then ultimately, I had open availability at both jobs. And the one issue with open availability is if you prove yourself to be a great worker, nobody wants to put you on a schedule now. So I had open availability at 2 jobs, and I was like, hey, can you put me on a schedule? I'm trying to give you the schedule. Hey, can you give me a schedule? And everybody wanted to decline. Everybody was like, nah, I'm not doing it. We love you. You work too hard. You're a great employee. No, just da-da-da-da. So sometimes it's an issue, and that's why I say boundaries will come in. So it's great to be available. It's great to be a hard worker. It's great to be kind and open, but you need to have boundaries, or people will run over you with a smile on their face. Like, they didn't give a fuck. So what became the issue with this is that I was working the 2 jobs so that I can supplement my income to pay for my first apartment, and nobody wanted to give me open availability. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to quit one of the jobs. I quit one of the jobs, and then I got hired at the 2nd job around seasonal time. So, you know, more hours. If you want to work overtime, it's more like auto papered, right? Seasonal area gets out, they keep me on the job, and then hours, because it's no longer like holiday season, stuff like that, get cut in half. And they're not willing to give you more hours because they are a company, they need to cover their own ass. So now with hours being cut in half, I didn't have enough to make my rent. And I had gotten into it with my daddy. We weren't talking for a little while. I have never really had the best relationships with family. I didn't have any friends to call and ask for no money. So this is what, like, I went begging and pleading with them. I was like, please, I can't make my rent, and I promised myself I would never be homeless again. They were just like, okay. Like, and then around that time, I was overworking myself so bad that I ended up getting sick. So if you don't take care of yourself and you just work yourself, you will work yourself into the grave. And it was like, the reaction to it, I really wasn't feeling it. I was like, y'all, I'm sick. I got to take a day off. Like, I'm always working. Please just give me a day off. They were like, are you coming to work or not? Y'all, the amount of woes that they heard from me, yeah, don't ever play with her. So I quit my job, and I got hired at a club and started stripping. Because I was like, something got to give. I never in my wildest dreams that I would ever become a stripper. However, sometimes you have to do what you got to do. And I was stressed the fuck out. I had nobody to turn to. I didn't want to live on the street again. Like, it just, I couldn't do it. So I started stripping. Let me see. I started stripping, and within that period of time, I actually could have stayed at my apartment, but my mom was heavy on, we should look for better, we should look for better, we should look better. And that's who my mom always was. She always was, and it's good to always want to level up and stuff like that, but sometimes for the sake of understanding your circumstances, you have to live below your means. And that is a big part of why also we were experiencing a bit of homelessness that I understood when I was younger. Because also, I'm not gonna say that my people's or my mom was trying to keep up with the Joneses, but for the most part, having expensive taste all the time can have you fucked up. Like, there were times I was like, Mommy, we can't afford this. She was like, no, you need to, and I'm like, and next thing you know, we getting some shit repossessed. Sorry, Mommy, it just is what the fuck it is. Like, sometimes, y'all, you have to audit your finances. Sometimes you have to get you some Kroger brand, Walmart brand, and vibe. Some stuff, like, it's great to have expensive taste, but you need to be able to afford your lifestyle. Like, don't put yourself ass out and in no desperate situation because you're trying to be so, like, on the expensive taste side and you can't afford expensive. Because a lot of the people that should have expensive taste, they're living on a budget. So let's be real. Like, sometimes that keeping up with the Joneses shit, they'll put you ass out. So my mom was heavy on me about looking for better. And I was like, okay, whatever. It's not going to be that hard to get into a new place, by all means. And around that time, I had started dancing. I was using the dancing to, like, supplement my income. And it's funny because I didn't tell my mom initially that I was dancing. I told her that I was working at Hooters. And then her just being nosy as she is, ended up finding out. And it just was a big situation. I might tell a story on that one day, but what it is what it is. But yeah, because she was, like, on my ass about, we need to get a better place. We need to move. Which is also probably part of why we was homeless a few times when we was younger too, because she was big on just moving and bouncing around. So that was just a lot. Another piece of advice I'm going to bring up in this moment is don't let anyone rush you. So my mom was my mom, and because of who she was and because of how close we were, I just always took her advice as Bible. But for the most part, your journey is your journey, y'all. So sometimes letting somebody else tell you what you're supposed to be doing when you could just be like knowing what you should do to yourself, that could put you ass out. So don't let nobody rush you. Your journey is your journey, right? So we move out of my first place. I'm like, okay, we're gonna stay in a hotel for a little bit. It's not gonna be that hard to get approved. Y'all, when I tell you, I was going through hell to get approved for apartments. Hell. Like, and this was around the time that I had like legitimate pay stubs from a real job, right? So the first place I started dancing, the structure of it was a kind of like tip sheet. So you know, if you're a dancer, then you can like claim tips and stuff like that. But for the most part, apartments be wanting, I'm looking at my notes, apartments be wanting pay stubs, bank statements, work offer letters, which I just recently found out about, IRS transcripts, or those tips that you can claim, right? From whatever. So when I was dancing, I wouldn't really claim super high tips, because also you need to know that as a dancer, at some point in time, the IRS gonna come knocking about all that money that you're making. The IRS gonna come knocking about that cash down car, about them apartments, about that jewelry, about all that shit. The IRS is the biggest gang in existence. So they gonna come looking for your ass by that money, and they don't fuck around. So I try my best not to claim the highest tips possible, but when you are looking to get big purchases like a car, like apartments, like stuff like that, you need to be claiming higher tips, right? You need to be depositing your money in the bank up to a certain amount. You need to be like looking like you've got the money, right? So I started claiming higher tips, and I was trying to go around. I got my like tip sheet notarized or something like that. I was trying to go around to different apartments. Some people are willing to take it, some people aren't. But I got approved for my second apartment with the tip sheets, right? But within that time, we were kind of bouncing around hotels for a little bit. It was stressful. My mama was in my ear stressing me the fuck out, while also still telling me about like being a dirty stripper. Like, it was just too much. It was a lot going on. But I finally got approved for my second apartment. And the way that I got approved for my second apartment was that notarized tip sheet, was having the money in the bank statements from dancing. But the biggest issue within all those other apartments I applied to was I got the money, had more than money. I was able to pay 5 months worth of rent if I wanted to, but I had no pay stubs. So that's where that notarized tip sheet comes in, right? And another big part that I'm about to tell y'all is being honest. What ultimately got me approved for the place, I wasn't trying to tell nobody I was a dancer. In part, like my mom being in my ear, me feeling ashamed of it, and also me not wanting people to know I was dancing, because it was just like nobody's business. The only reason ultimately, and I might get into that a little bit later in a different video, why I ended up saying I was dancing is because I had family harassing me and trying to be on some like, I know what you doing, and trying to like hold some shit over my head. And just the type of person I am, I don't give a fuck. So I ultimately just ended up posting that I was dancing. But in the way I got into the first apartment is I just broke down after the lady was like, yeah, we're not gonna be able to approve you. I was like, oh my God, I'm a dancer. I dance. Like, please, girl, I'm begging you, please let me in. Like, I need a place to stay. I can't live in these hotels no more. Y'all, why this girl gonna talk about, bitch, what? I'm a dancer too. Y'all, closed mouths don't get fed. Closed mouths do not get fed. Sometimes you gotta open the fuck up. Sometimes you gotta cry a little. Sometimes you gotta tell people, baby, please help me. Baby, can you help me? Sometimes you got to. Because that is literally what got me into my first apartment. Swear to God. That's what did it. Like, she was like, oh, girl, I'm about to figure it out for you. Point blank period. Second apartment. That easy. Just because I was like, girl, please, I'm stressing the fuck out. Like, I'm a dancer. Please just help me the fuck out. Let me figure it out. Baby, I'm a dancer too. What, bitch? Come on. Help a sister out. Help me out. So now I'm in the second apartment, right? The only issue that I had with being in the second apartment was, and this is advice to women, this is advice to people that live alone, this is just different shit, and I feel like it might have come in part with the fact that I had mentioned that I was a dancer. Only God knows, because people between scam and rob and all that other shit, Atlanta is a treacherous place. I don't know why the fuck y'all keep coming here. Atlanta is treacherous, but it just is what the fuck it is. So With my second apartment, I had issues, pretty much no issues, like great place, but I had issues with maintenance men coming into my apartment because they had the key. Baby, solution to that issue, put a latch on the door, change the locks. Motherfucker, I don't give a fuck if you say you need to have entry to my apartment. You ain't gonna have entry no more. Because imagine what it feels like to be waking up and you hear niggas walking around your apartment talking about, oh, this nice. Oh, I got some nice heat for you. I got something for your ass. Thank God I ain't feel like firing my clip off that day. Thank God I wanted to be civilized, because niggas would have lost their life just because they want to come walking through my apartment. So I had maintenance men walking in my apartment, and that became an issue. But one thing I will tell y'all, these things are your best friend. Documentation, code enforcement. That is something big that you need to know at these places. Documentation and code enforcement. Mentioning the word code enforcement will have everybody's scalp sweating and tightening the fuck up to get a hernia. They will tighten the fuck up so fucking quick, because code enforcement will get on that ass. No running water, issues with this, issues with that, central heating. Oh, baby, code enforcement. What? Baby, that shit gonna get fixed by tomorrow. Don't fucking play with these people. So, a big thing that has helped me in these places 100% when I've had issues is documentation, like sending things by email, sending things by text, writing a letter and taking a picture of the letter and then giving them the letter and keeping the picture, time stamping everything, because my brain really works like a computer. I can go back in that motherfucker and I can tell you exactly when something happened, and I can look at the dates and I can put 2 and 2 together. Like, don't ever play with me. So that helped me out. But for the most part, I would say, I'm very big on changing locks. I'm very big on putting a latch on a fucking door. I'm very big on getting a Ring camera, because motherfuckers, I don't know, people come to Atlanta. Atlanta low-key Sodom and Gomorrah. Like, people come to Atlanta to scam and steal and be a celebrity and just all type of other shit. So it'd be a lot going on. And for the most part, what y'all know about like my journey has been that it has been so extremely hard to get into these places, because people scamming so much has made it difficult for regular people to get into places. So there are ways that you can get into places that people gave me advice to do. I chose not to, and that's why some people had told me that for a little bit. I had a conversation with a friend. Somebody told me for a little bit, they're like, you're suffering because you want to. You're going through this longer than you have to because you want to, and because people will be like, girl, I don't understand why you don't just go catch up with a nigga. I don't understand why you don't just use a little fake, little something. I don't understand, but for the most part, I was open and honest with you guys about what I was going through, because y'all, if y'all can see, like if you scroll all the way down to the bottom of my Instagram, like you would see that I started living in my car, but I didn't post immediately when I started living in my car. I was living in my car for a little bit because I was just thugging it. Because I was like, I don't give a fuck. We've done this before. I already know how to do this, whatever, right? After I had like, oh, let me tell the rest of it. So basically me getting my second apartment, good things, all blessings, whatever. My mom ends up passing away, right? And I let go of my apartment. Mind you, y'all, I don't know what the process would be if you get evicted, if you have arrests, if you have felonies, whatever. I don't know what that process would be. I have not experienced that. I do not have a felony. I have never been evicted before. I don't know stuff like that. But what I do know is that my mom had experienced an eviction, and we still managed to get an apartment. I don't know what the fuck she was doing when I was a kid, but it's possible. Google is your friend. Closed mouths don't get fed. Opening up your mouth is your friend. There are government assisted programs, resources. Okay, there are government assisted programs, income-based livings. There are places where people are willing to seek out apartments for you, and they pay the deposit, or they talk down the deposit, or just whatever. And there are apartments that are less strict. A lot of the issue with Atlanta right now is everywhere is a fucking luxury apartment. They put some steel appliances and a marble countertop in that motherfucker, and it's right in the middle of the hood, and they consider it a luxury apartment. It don't make sense. There's so much gentrification going on. There's so much people buying up all these complexes, being a conglomerate and buying up all these complexes and moving the hood out and moving all the white people in, that is hard as shit to get into an apartment. But one thing that I will tell you is it is possible. And I guess I went through my suffering for longer than I need to because I wanted to show people and be able to tell people from a place of honesty and integrity that, y'all, it's possible still to get into these places without doing something fake, without scamming, without doing whatever. Yes, if you want to take it into account and be like, oh, but you dance. Dancing low-key has nothing to do with it because money is money. Money is money. And at the end of the day, what I end up getting into places with is a pay stub or a work offer letter. That's what got me. So a pay stub, a work offer letter, like notarized tip sheet if you're a dancer or if you're a waitress or some shit, whatever. But it's possible without doing something crazy and outlandish, right? It's possible. You don't have to sacrifice yourself. I've had many offers from men. Y'all look at me. Look at the material. I have many offers from men where I could have been living in a nigga house, where they wanted to have me put up, but being put up come with something else. Many offers, but I wanted to be able. So I guess I struggled for a little bit longer than I needed to because I did it kind of for y'all, just a little bit, like out of love. I wanted to be able to tell people from an honest base, like integrity-based place, it is possible. I promise you, baby, it's possible to get into a place without doing something crazy. Yes, I dance, but money is money. So if you figure your money out, after that, it is what it is. Take the dancing out of the way. Because if I'd have been working at Bed Bath, I still had the money in the bank. You get what I'm saying? If I'd have been working at whatever, I still had the money in the bank. What is the truth of my stories all the time, I'll tell y'all, is work your ass off. Once you start working your ass off, people start to notice you. Sometimes people extend you help because you're working your ass off. Literally. Like, y'all, I have gotten advice, I've gotten tips, I've gotten assistance, literally because people saw me working my ass off. They wanted to help me. That's the biggest piece of advice I could give you. That has helped me in so many different situations. Me praying has helped me in so many different situations. But let me kind of get back through because I don't want to bounce around too much, right? So my mom passed away and I went to live with my dad. As y'all know, I was living with my dad for a little bit. We kind of butted heads a little bit. It got a little domestic. I'm not going to say what transpired. It got a little domestic. And with that situation, I will always say in life, drama, that's not my forte. I'll walk away. I'll be the one to leave, right? So I chose to leave. When I left my dad's house, I probably had like $7,000 in the bank, but it was like tied up in the bank. It was in an IRA or something like that. So I went to stay with a friend for a little bit. She started tweaking out. That power went to her head. That's why I say I've always had issues with trying to be in somebody else's house, because there are people that take pride in seeing you at your lowest point. And they will literally shit on you because you're at your lowest point, and whatever animosities they had toward you, it's gonna come out when they see the day they feel like they got the ups on you. So that's what the situation happened with that. I lost a few friends. I lived with some other people, and me being depressed about my situation was just stressful. Like, my mom had passed away. I was technically homeless. Like, I was depressed for a little while, and that's why I say sometimes you're in your dark position and people will push you away, not because they really want to, but because like you being so sad around them just isn't helping them. Everybody going through their own shit, and I never wanted to be a burden on people, but sometimes I was, and I can accept that and I can apologize for it, right? So for that period of time, coming back around to that point, for that period of time, I was trying to still keep posting and still keep being the fashionista, the beauty girl that I could be. But I was like, y'all, I cannot sustain this. I'm stressed the fuck out and I live in my car. I gotta tell people what the fuck going on with me. So I can both have a little grace, and two, because I feel like it's just my purpose in life to, one, I'm going through this, so maybe somebody else don't got to. Somebody else can hear me and be inspired. Somebody else sitting in their car right now. Like, shit, I done had times where I was in Magic City dancing and somebody came up, they fucked the stage up. They said, I remember where you was living in your car. I came in here from so-and-so area because I watched a video of you living in your car crying, talking about what you was going through with your daddy. I fuck with you. niggas dapping me up, be like, you was a real ass nigga. Like, you real as fuck. Shit, people be going through shit, especially men. A lot of these men are suffering in silence. A lot of people are suffering in silence. Sometimes y'all, I'm not saying you gotta give the whole rundown. I'm not saying you gotta make a TikTok. I'm not saying you gotta make a YouTube video, but sometimes you just gotta be a little bit honest. I started seeking help from my community. I started opening up to people. I started just letting it be honest. And yeah, some people look at me crazy as fuck. Some people be like, oh, some people have tried to laugh at me because I was homeless, because I was honest about being homeless. Some people have tried to use it against me in an argument. So like, it just is what the fuck it is. But baby, you can't hurt me. Well, like, God don't give you no more than you can handle, baby. God does not give you no more than you can handle. And I done been through that shit. But that's when I learned that I do not closely link my self-worth to my material possessions. I do not link my self-worth to what you think about me. What you think about me is none of my motherfucking business. And I have been on a self-help journey where I've been trying to make myself better and different stuff like that. But I have to get into how a self-help journey sometimes needs to come to an end, because then you gotta stop nitpicking yourself. Stop trying to, because then it goes from self-help to people-pleasing. But yeah, I was open and honest about living in a car. I said, fuck it, I gotta just do whatever. I didn't want to go back and start stripping, but I did. And I got hired back at Magic City. Now, shout out to my Magic City fam. Like, Magic City has been so helpful. So, I'm so appreciative to these people. Like, Magic City has been such a blessing to me. And that's why I have to say 100%, even if I didn't want to be a stripper, the people that I've met along this journey, the environment that has been fostered by Mr. Magic, like the people within the environment, it's been such a blessing to me, because I wouldn't be able to be who I am today if I did not experience dancing, but also if I did not experience dancing at Magic City. So I feel like they have been such a blessing. And what am I trying to say? Yeah, I started back dancing. I was living in my car for a little bulk while I was dancing. And then the car got upgraded to hotels. And then after the hotels, it got upgraded to, because at one point I'd like slept a night in my storage unit. You're not supposed to, but child off finesse. Living in a car got upgraded to hotels with the blessing of working at Magic City. I got upgraded to staying in Airbnbs. And what I can say is Airbnb isn't necessarily sustainable, because you do need to keep making that money to pay. But I was paying based off like a weekly basis or a monthly basis. So there were places where I stayed and it was like I was paying them rent. So I was just living at like an Airbnb for like a few months and paying it like it was rent, because I'm still gonna have to pay regardless. And there's ways that you could do that. I've bounced around a few Airbnbs. I've stayed in some areas, and eventually, if you do your audit, you do your finances breakdown, you get in your light, your rent, your water, your Wi-Fi all in one place. So like, take that into consideration when you're looking for Airbnbs to pay for and use it like you're renting. Like, you'll just be in a room off to the side, but that was my roommate situation for a little bit. And finally, it came to a conclusion, but I've lost friends. I was staying with a few people, and me being depressed, like, kind of was throwing them off. It wasn't the vibe. But I got approved for this place with literally pay stubs and an offer letter. And that brings back to ways to get approved. Pay stubs, bank statements, that's how I got approved. Pay stubs, bank statements, and an offer letter. And sometimes just being honest, being like, hey, please, baby, can you help me? The work offer letter, IRS transcripts. One place asked me for IRS transcripts, but I didn't have that. And if you're a dancer, claim your tips. Get your tips notarized. Start claiming your tips a little higher when you're ready to apply for a place. A place approves you or whatever. Like, just stuff like that, right? Now, in terms of resources, once again, there are places that are income-based living. There are government-assisted programs that will seek out a place for you. Google is your best friend, y'all. Start looking at Google. And there are apartments that are less strict. Sometimes you need to bring down your standards a little bit. Like, personally, Yes, it's a blessing. Would I have preferred to live somewhere else? Sure, fine and dandy. But I was looking at places that were like 2K a month. Like, their apartments are very expensive, and not only expensive, they're very hard to get into in Atlanta. The place that I have, for sake of transparency, is $1,400 a month, and then just whatever other things, because I built myself within this time that I've also been homeless. I was also auditing my finances and, excuse me, I'm sorry, getting rid of my excess. Like, there are ways to make money on the streets. Like, you can be having paper and being homeless. Like, you could be having paper living in your car. I was doing Uber Eats for a really long time. Plato's Closet are assholes. They will give you $25 for $300 worth of stuff. But baby, if you need that money, let it go. So I've sold things at Plato's Closet. I was doing Uber Eats. Of course, I was dancing. If I would have been trying to work a job, I could have got approved for a job. Shit, try to get a work from home job and take your ass to the library every day for Wi-Fi. It's always a way to get some money, y'all. If you have a brain in your head, I don't care if you feel like you're not smart, Google is your best friend. Ask some people. I purposefully have, through my life, because I grew up watching a lot of my friends, family, people go to jail for doing things, because literally the system is set. This comes around to my advice. The system is set up for y'all to fail, especially Black people, especially minorities. The system is set up for y'all to fail. And I know it's hard. I know it's hard to be patient. I know sometimes you lose faith. I've lost a little faith in God at times. But y'all, do not do something to go to jail. Do not do something to fuck up your record. Get no felonies, all that different shit like that, because that makes it even harder for you. The system is set up for you to fail, and then after you fail, just keep spiraling down. Keep spiraling down. Keep. So a lot of times, the things that I've done, I've purposely told myself that I didn't want to make decisions out of desperation. And I didn't want to link my self-worth to what I was going through. Because, okay, I was homeless, but what does that have to do with me? Me being homeless ain't who I am. That's not my entire identity. It's just something I've experienced. Like, it's a blip in my life. Like, and God forbid if I was ever experience it again. Like, it just, what the fuck it is. Like, come on now. But y'all, I was literally 2 seconds away from going and living in a tent. Like, y'all could have been seeing my ass on the sidewalk with a tent and been like, damn, how did she get here? So I just like, let me be open about it, because maybe if I'm open about it, I can get some advice or somebody can help me out or different stuff like that. But y'all, the system is literally set up for you to fail. And I know it's hard, but I really held out for longer than I had to, just so I could be able to tell y'all, you don't have to go that low. You don't have to go as low as you think you're gonna have to go. I promise you. Promise you. And I feel like the biggest thing in life is drawing a line in the sand where you will not go beneath that line. Like, yes, there have been some things where I like was a little bit more lenient on, but I have my line in the sand, and my line is different from everybody else's line. There's somebody that probably will never strip a day in their life. I pray to God you don't have to. But stripping is where I draw my line. Because I was like, y'all, if you knew the life I live, baby, it's whatever. I decided to strip. So, now we're on that point. Oh, places to go while you are homeless, if you are ever experiencing it, or if you're ever in a domestic violence situation. Because despite everything, I love my dad, y'all. I got no choice but to love my dad. Like, it just is what it is. We are cool. We're in a decent place. Don't look at the old videos or look at anything I say, current, future, whatever, and be like, oh, she hates her dad. I don't have hate for anybody on this world. Hate is not something that will ever exist in my heart, because I need my heart to be light and free so that I can do what I need to do and have a purpose in this life. Hate don't do shit for me. Ain't got time for it. But places to go, I had some options for shelters, like people gave me, but also like Google is your best friend. I will always say that, y'all. So like, there's too much internet and access for anybody to not be making money, to be struggling so deeply with certain things. But I was willing to go through it because not only had I been through it before, but I also had my faith, I also had my work ethic, and I also wanted to be able to come and tell y'all it's possible. There are shelters you can go to. Hotels get very expensive, so I had to let the hotel shit go after a while, because I could only sustain hotels because I was literally stripping. So hotels is not sustainable unless you have like a cash income type job, like your hairstylist or lash tech or something. Like you figure out a way to hustle and make money selling fish plates. Shit, because I used to sell plates of food. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's possible. Shelters, hotels, Airbnb. I was living in my car and I was living at a friend's house. Those are the ways that I know of staying at like weird places to stay, opposed to just being like ass out homeless, like nowhere to go. Absolutely. One thing I can say, Jeju Spa is open 24 hours a day. Sorry, Jeju, I'm not trying to send everybody your way, but Jeju Spa is open 24 hours a day. There are days of the week. Some days it's closed, but there are days of the week. Shout out Planet Fitness, where Planet Fitness is open 24 hours. Within that time, I focused on my health. I was exercising. I was like, shit, I ain't got nowhere to go. I'm gonna go to the gym. And also I know I'm safe within a gym. You get what I'm saying? So Planet Fitness, Jeju, just like stuff like that. Like, and I know it sounds crazy, but for the most part, when you're going through hell on earth, working out kind of improves your state of mind. So YMCA, Jeju, Planet Fitness, like those are places that I went for sure. We're gonna get into the advice now because that's what I have left. Prayer is key, but also faith without, as y'all can see, I'm a little tired. Prayer is key, but faith without works is dead, y'all. You can pray all day long, hope and wish all day long, but get your ass up and start working. Get your ass up. Like, all this soft life shit, I'm not even gonna lie to you. People have come at me and told me I have a masculine energy, but I've had no choice but to be. Because I feel like when I'm in a little bit of my softer, more feminine energy, waiting on something to get situated or waiting, like, life is passing you by. Get your ass up and start working harder. Because I've pushed myself beyond so many levels of physical pain or mental strain or environment, people laughing at me because I'm working so fucking hard. I used to be at Bed Bath sleeping in the storage closet between work, going in the storage closet real quick and crouching on my tiptoes, squatted down, sleeping. Like, stop the complaining and stop the woe is me, oh. Work harder. I swear to God, like, that's helped me out so many times in life. It's not sustainable to work super, super hard for a super long time. You ease up off the gas a little bit, but it's possible to really rev the gas and work for an extended period of time and get yourself out of your situation. I swear to God. Because when I was working at Bed Bath, y'all, it took me, and that's what ended up, if you scroll to the bottom of my page, that's what got me that World Star article. I was working at Bed Bath for 3 months doing overtime before I got approved for my first apartment. 3 months, Bed Bath & Beyond. So don't look at my story and be like, she did it up because she's a stripper. It's different. I got to go start stripping. Or, oh, you got it different. You strip. No, I was working at Bed Bath, hello, for 3 months, working overtime, working myself to a stupor before I got approved for my first apartment. So it's possible. I'm well-versed on this topic, y'all, obviously. And look at the difference. I've been stripping and I probably was homeless for almost a year or over a year within this time. I just got a place because I was trying to really be so well-versed on a topic that I could really talk to y'all from all scopes, because I want to still be able to cater to regular people. Everybody can't strip. Everybody can't be no rapper, trapper, scammer, drug dealer, entrepreneur. Like, some people just want to clock in. Sometimes I just want to clock the fuck in, y'all, because I'll just be tired. But it is what it is. So be a hard worker. Open up about your struggles sometimes. Do not suffer in silence. Closed mouths don't get fed. And if you can think back on the story, like, sometimes me opening up my first apartment, my second apartment, that's how I got into the places ultimately. I opened up and I was like, hey, please, like, I'm going through it, please. Me getting help along this journey currently is not how I got into this apartment. I got into this apartment. But, oh my God, y'all. Right before I actually applied to this apartment once and I got approved. And then I got my phone stolen. And it cost me $1,600 to get a new phone. So I couldn't move into the apartment. So I've had so many different things happening, y'all, but I will tell y'all, do not lose your faith. I have had people try to push me into a corner. I've had men try to proposition me. Y'all, and I didn't do it. God is my witness. I didn't do it. I was getting close. God knew. God, I'm tired. Truth is, I'm tired. Truth is, I'm tired. Options are few. I tried to pray, but where are you? Y'all, I was so fed up. Like, oh my God. That's why he knew I gotta make some shit move, because my baby about to drop too far down the rabbit hole. But you gotta open up sometimes. Like, it should happen. Okay, be okay with being uncomfortable for a short period of time. Yes, I have experienced these things in my childhood or throughout my life or whatever, but I'm okay with doing it in my adulthood, because I've still said that I don't want to lose my faith. I don't want to lose myself. I still want to be able to look at myself in the mirror. I don't want to sell my soul or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't want to sell my soul. I don't want to lose my faith. I don't want to be able to not look at myself in the mirror. It just is what it is. And people deal with things differently, but I don't want to become a heavy drug user. I don't want to become an alcoholic. I don't want to be self-harming. I don't want to different stuff like that, because y'all, I've been there. I've been close. So it happens. Audit. I've also, during this time, I've been auditing my finances. I've been saying, okay, cancel these subscriptions. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like, let's figure it out, right? Because keeping up with the Joneses gonna get you left. Because when you are going through your hell on earth, you know what some people have done? They've laughed at me. They've cracked jokes on me. Called me the bag lady. I used to be showing up to Magic with my bag of my clothes for the night, and my other bag with my dance clothes and my stuff to get ready, and people was laughing at me. And look at it now. So be okay with being uncomfortable for a little minute. Be okay with people, you not being the one, because guess what? Trouble don't last always. You could be down, but guess what? When you hit rock bottom, guess what? You have nowhere to go but up. You can't go lower than rock bottom, bitch. You ain't got no mining tools. Get your ass up and start working and figure it out. Trouble don't last always. It's gonna happen. Like, you gonna pick it up sometime. So it's okay. Niggas gonna talk their shit, but who gonna be talking shit at the end? Comparison is a thief of joy. I'm so tired of social media. Honestly, fuck the algorithm. The algorithm has been stressing me the fuck out too, because beyond me just being homeless or whatever, I've been trying to, you trying to race the algorithm. Man, I'm going back to just posting how the fuck I want to post. If people want to support me, it is what the fuck it is. If something got 20 likes on it, it is what the fuck it is. I ain't got time. It's just like, it's so weird. Like, it's so weird what the world's coming to. Don't let anyone rush you. Sometimes me being in the position that I was in, like us going through, me and my mother going through homelessness, was literally because she just, like, sometimes your eyes, your eyes are eating more than your belly can. Sometimes you're biting off more than you could chew. Sometimes you just want to just jump to the next thing. Sit your ass down, be in one place, and be okay with being uncomfortable for a little bit. You might not be where you want to be, but it's where you have to be until you can go where you want to go. Period. Try your best not to make desperate decisions. Hold on. Excuse me. I'm not here to judge nobody. I done did some shit in my past. Don't get me wrong. But what I will say for the most part is what I've been holding on to is, will you be making this decision from a desperate place? And what I can say in my life is, through everything, I've not made decisions from a desperate place, because I was like, God don't want me to be desperation. Desperation will have you regretting some shit for years on end. It will have you wanting to kill yourself, like all type of shit. You can't look yourself in the mirror. I try my best not to make decisions from a desperate place, like 100%. If you keep that in your head and in your heart, you'll be okay. Like, it's okay to go through struggles, but just try your best not to make decisions from a desperate place. Also, what has been taking me an extended period of time with this homeless journey is because I have been trying to build myself avenues to sustain my blessing. So everybody is not going to be multi-skilled or be the most intelligent person or be having access to all these people, because genuinely, that's why I say it's such a blessing to be a Magic, because I have access to some people I probably would never meet. Like, I hate going out. Like, it is what it is. I am who I am. But because I work at Magic City, I've had the blessing of being able to meet a lot of cool people. So a lot of people don't have access to those networks and stuff like that. And that's why I would say, for the most part, if you do your work, you have to go out at some point and start like getting your clientele and stuff like that. But if you build yourself up to where you can sustain your blessing, you don't have to worry about consistently experiencing stuff. Because like I tell y'all, I've never been evicted. I was not going through homelessness because I wanted to be evicted or because whatever. I was going through homelessness because I decided it was better for both me and my father's relationship and for my mental health to not be in the same house. Like I decided I need to be back in my own place because my mom passed away and he was like, it would be a good idea to come live with me, and it just wasn't a good idea. And sometimes shit just don't work out. It is what it is. And y'all, that's the end. Oh my God. So yeah, for the most part, that is the conclusion of everything. I have gone through all of this and I hope that this is blessed and helps somebody. Please, y'all, please, please, please let me know if you need any advice about anything or if you wanted me to further elaborate on stuff, because I know I've kind of been all over the place. Hopefully y'all can keep track. In the comment section, just please comment and let me know, y'all. Like, don't just watch it and be like, oh, but what? No, like I'm here to help. I'm here to give advice. I'll try my best to get to you as soon as possible. But for the most part, y'all, the words I want to leave y'all with is trouble don't last always. Keep the faith. Do not make decisions from a desperate place, no matter how you feel. I promise you, the light is at the end of the tunnel. Work hard and smart, and sometimes you have to open up. And everybody might not be the right person to open up to, but sometimes you never know who you'll receive help from and different stuff like that. It's people that are hard down beefing with me, not we beefing, they're beefing with me, that have tried to assist me. When I was posting about like being homeless or whatever, they've tried to give me assistance. It's been random, but it is what it is. So you never know who God will use to bless you. So for the most part, y'all, don't link what you're going through to who you are. Like, it's just something you're experiencing, and that does not determine your self-worth. You are still amazing. You are still blessed. You are still worth it. But get your ass up and work, and you will get it. I promise you. It might be a little longer than you think, but you'll get it. Because, y'all, I've really been homeless for, like, almost a year or over a year. I just got this place. So I don't give a fuck how long you going through it, baby. I've been going through it. And I just got it. Yeah. So it's on the way, y'all. All the blessings are on the way to you. Steadfast. Pray. Believe in yourself. Believe in God. And you will get it. In Jesus' name, amen. See y'all later.